Hey everybody, today we're going to be flying out the J-34 or the Hunter F.1. In this case, I'm going to be flying the J-34. Anyways, this plane is a rank 6 subsonic jet BR 9.0 for the Swedish and British tech tree. Now this is not to be confused with the Hunter F-58, the FJ9, the F6, or the P-16. Now this is specific for the Hunter F1 because this plane is just kind of mid, honestly. It's a mediocre plane. Now this plane used to be very strong. It used to be up there with the Legacy 9.0 jets, the F2 Sabre, and the MiG-17. Now this plane is nowhere near as strong as it is anymore, and that's because of the power in this plane. Now by no means has this plane gotten nerfed or something, like maybe it has that I'm not aware of, but it's mostly because of the competition. This plane's selling point was the power and the retention. Now that's still a very strong point of this plane, it's still its strength. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more planes out there that can do what this plane does and do it better. Or planes just counter you, that you just makes it not as good anymore, it's not as strong. And this means you gotta fly it in a different way now. You have to really play passive aggressively, and you gotta be very careful about getting people under 6, about going for certain people, about pitching up, At the end of the day, it's not a bad plane, don't get me wrong. This plane is still very, very strong, and it can be very strong if you play it correctly. But there's just so many better options you can play, like the Hunter, F58, the FJ9, the F6, those ones I talked about. Those planes are just overall better. And it's kind of sad to see such a good plane, crumble, because this used to be a very, very fun plane to fly many years ago. But anyways, this is not a rant about why this plane is bad, it's about how to play this plane in the meta right now. It's mediocre, but it can still be played. Now, you want to play this plane passive aggressively, fly in and out of furballs, don't commit to fights when people are around. You gotta be very careful, about getting people under 6, obviously, because you're not a good defensive flyer. You got a good roll rate, but when it comes to dodging people, this plane is pretty big, it's kind of fat, too, and it makes it hard to avoid people's shots. And even if they're catching you, and they're not faster than you, they still have that small time frame to kill you, and it's not a hard thing to do to this plane, because it doesn't lose speed that fast, so it's hard to reverse people. Anyways, another thing about this plane is its competition against the MiG-17s and the F2s. They used to be this plane's rivals back in the day, but now it's a little bit strange fighting them. You gotta be very careful when you fight the MiG-17, because you can't really energy trap that thing. It's not that much slower than you. So is the F2, they're not that much slower than you. You gotta play it carefully. With the MiG-17, there is no real way you can beat it in a dogfight. But with the F2, you can energy trap it, but you gotta be careful, because it's still not that much slower than you. You gotta be careful when you're pitching up. Make sure you're going slowly, you're not like just full sending it upwards, because you're gonna get slammed. Or like stall shotted, you gotta be careful with that. It's definitely doable, but with caution, definitely. Anyways, with the MiG-17, it's just hopeless. They outclimb you, you're not gonna be able to energy trap them, unless you already have a massive advantage in speed. Anyways, how exactly do you fly this plane? I already talked about flying it passive aggressively, but I think something you gotta consider is positioning and target prioritization. I know you guys hear this from Defin quite a lot, but make sure your positioning is very good. Yeah, by that I mean in down tiers you want to climb to around 3,000 to 5,000 meters, kind of center mid to the map, and fly in like that. You don't target the first person you see, obviously, pretty obvious. You want to make sure you go for the person behind everybody. Don't go for the person in the front, even though it might seem like a free kill. When you're in up tier, you want to climb to around 3,000 to 5,000 meters, and also side climb to the left slightly. You don't want to go above control height, which is usually around 5,500 meters and above. This is because, the MiG-21s, the Lightnings, all the supersonic stuff, a lot of them like to climb really high, and you don't want to contest them at thinner air. It's not very good for you. Especially those R3Rs, they're going to be pretty nasty and annoying to dodge. So yeah, in up tiers, generally climb slightly lower and off to the side. Another topic I wanted to touch on was the BR of this plane. Now this plane is 9.0, and let me just tell you, y'all remember the BR changes a few months ago where they moved down a bunch of the subsonics. Well, this wasn't affected by it. This thing is still the same BR, and all the other planes that were 9.0 got moved down, like the F2 Sabre and the MiG-17, for example. However, this thing is still 9.0, and let me just tell you, this is the same BR as the F6 Hunter and the FJ9 Hunter. Those planes are literally just the Hunter F1, but better. It doesn't really seem fair to have this plane at 9.0 when you have to fight against, basically, just better planes. You get 9.7 games a lot, and 9.3 games are also really hard to deal with, because F104s and MiG-19s, they're always going to be in your games basically every single time. So yeah, I think this plane should be 8.7. 8.7 is probably like the good BR for it. 9.0 is a little bit too high, and nothing else would really work for this plane. So summary of this vehicle is It is a mediocre vehicle. It's pretty fast, has good retention, bad low speed. It locks up at high speeds, but you generally want to play it passive aggressively, fly in and out of furballs, and keep your situation awareness up. Climb slightly into the game, don't go too high, and also be aware of missiles and like be careful about climbing in up tiers. Anyways, our next game is going to be an ace game on small Spain, and we're going to be voicing over that. I think it shows a lot of good examples of target prioritization and positioning. Alright, in the start of the game, there's an F.1. I assume we ought to hit a base. My teammates are on him. There's no one around, so I'm going to commit to it because I do have a free reign, a free opportunity to get a kill. Shoot the missile at 2.8 kilometers. It's pretty far, but it should just get there. He gets hit in the process, and the missile gets there in time. Now, we're going to look around. We see this F.1 in front of us. Well, we got to make sure we're not getting jumped by someone else, so we're looking around. There's a pack on our right. Got to be careful of that. But for now, we're just going to head towards this F.3H. He's going for my teammate. We're going to try to help him out a little bit. I do make the mistake of committing too late to this head-on, and I almost get sprayed out of the sky. And then we make it rather close with the ground. Yeah, we almost died right there. That's a pretty bad show of how you should head on. If the F.3H saw me earlier, I would have just gotten slammed out of the air. But luckily for us, that didn't happen. Anyways, we're going to be turning back towards the F.3H, and the plane's on our left. However, F.3H is kind of in a 3v1, and it just gets clapped in the air. Now we see like 7 A5 Sabres to our left, my bad. And we're going to be careful about this. A5 Sabres are less dangerous than the F Sabres, but they're still pretty scary when they catch you off guard. So we're going to have to get some better position. We're not going to go straight into that because we don't want to get dived on by some people. So we're going to fly off, fly straight, get some position. I'm going to find a good time to turn in. Now then I see this A5 Sabre. He's kind of chasing me a little bit, so we're going to make sure we kind of like keep our separation from him for a little bit. Now this might be a little bit extra cautious, you might say, and I do agree with you. Probably could have turned in sooner, but then I see this guy. He's turning up for my teammate, so it gives us a free opportunity to turn back in and try to kill him. Now he's pitching right up for my friendly. We're looking around. There's a C-Vixen right there. Gotta keep my eye on him. Very dangerous plane for this plane at least. Now this A5 Sabre is diving down. And I actually didn't expect to hit this shot, but yeah, severe damage. I look back at him though. He doesn't seem too damaged. It doesn't seem like he's damaged that much, but hopefully he will die. Anyways, we see this A5 Sabre. We're gonna sling a 9B at him. We look around, make sure the C-Vixen isn't on us, and that's a critical hit. He should be going down right there. Yeah, he's not recovering from that. The other guy in the background also dies, and we turn off to the side. We make sure no one's on our 6, which is very important, and that gives us free reign to go for this F3H. Now he's on the MiG-15. He doesn't really see me coming, so I'm just gonna straight up just blast him out of the sky. Yeah, he's gone. He wasn't really watching me. He's kind of too busy going for my friendly, so very easy kill. C-Vixen is now 3.6 kilometers behind us. Now, I'm gonna be careful. That's not close enough to shoot the missile, but we're gonna turn back for him. Now, this C-Vixen is actually playing it quite smart. He's being quite passive. He's not very aggressive, which is kind of the right way to play the C-Vixen. He's not committing too much. But it's also very annoying because he's a lot faster than all of us. He's just gonna stay above us. And right there, you just hit my MiG-15, which is not very good, because the MiG-15 would be a pretty valuable asset to our team. Anyways, we're gonna make sure to stay under the C-Vixen to deny him of a good angle, because the Hunter, the J-34 in general, just isn't very good at dodging missiles. And the C-Vixen missile, while it's not the best, it is still pretty scary, so we're gonna go underneath him. We debated about going for this A5 Sabre, but I realized it's not a good idea. I should probably turn off to this way and help my teammates. Anyway, C-Vixen is not going for us anyways, so we're gonna turn back. We're thinking about going for this A5, but then we see there's a meteor down here. Now this meteor isn't really a dangerous target, and he's going really slow. But we're gonna try to take him out anyways, along the way. We pull lead, spray some shots, and we do hit him. Now we switch on over to the A5 Sabre. We miss our shots, and that's an example of this plane's AOA. It doesn't pull a lot of instant AOA. And I should have shot earlier. I mean, in that situation, I feel like it would have been a hard shot. But yeah, remember guys, when you shoot the 8 ends, especially on the J-34, just pull lead early. Don't wait until your target gets closer, because a lot of times you realize that it's too late to pull lead and you just whiff your shot. Yeah. So anyways, this last guy just runs till the game ends. Timer ends, actually. The last two guys just want to get strafed. The other guy dies across the map in a 1v1. We don't get any more kills after this. But yeah, that basically wraps up the game. I'm not going to bore you with that. And yeah, so this is the end of the video, and thank you all for watching, and I hope you learned something about the J-34 today.